Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together. Masechet Pesachim Adav Beis Amud Aleph. The Masechet is called Pesachim in the plural and not singularly Pesach, because in the time of the Go'onim there was two different tractates, Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheni. The first tractate contained the first four prakim, which deals primarily with Hilchos, Chometz, and Matzah. And the latter part of our Masechta, which was really a second Masechet, Pesach Sheni, that included the 5th through the 9th Perek, which deals with Korban Pesach. The 10th Perek in our tractate, which deals with the night of the Seder, that was really annexed to the first Pesach Rishon. In fact, we even have a remez to this, because at the end of the 4th Perek, it states, Hadron Aloch Mokum Shenohagu, the name of the Perek, V'slika lo Pesach Rishon. Similarly, at the end of the 9th Perek, it states, Hadron Aloch Misha Haya Tome, the name of the 9th Perek, V'slika lo Pesach Sheni. Our tractate includes both, and therefore it's called Pesachim. The Masechet opens up with the halacha of Bedikas Chametz, the very first obligation a person has in regards to Hilchas Pesach. Says the Mishnah, Or la'arbo asar, boitkin es hachametz, la'or haner. The or of the 14th, that is when a person begins his bedika. He must begin making a bedikas chametz, checking to determine that there is no chametz in his possession. And he does so la'or haner, using a candle light. Says the Mishnah, Kol makom she'ein machnisin boy chametz, ein sorich bedika. Any place that you would not normally bring chametz into is not requiring a bedika. Uva me amru beishuas b'martim. Asks the Mishnah, then why does it state in the words later on that indeed there's a requirement to check the place where we keep the wine? Why do we have to check the martef? After all, there is no chametz coming into the martef. You don't need to then check there, and yet it does state you have to check shtei shuros. Answers the Mishnah, makom shemachnisim by chametz, because indeed in the times of Chazal, the shamish would serve the food, and in between, while serving the food, he would also eat himself. When he would discover that the wine was no longer available at the Suda, it was finished up, he would then go to the wine cellar, the martef, with the pita perhaps in his hand. Then getting some wine from the martef, he might leave that pita in the cellar, whereby we're required to check even the martef, because that's a place where it would be, yes, machnisin by chametz. The Mishnah goes on to say, what is the two shurois b'martef that one has to check? It's a machlokes, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai omrim beis shurois al pnei kol martef. Beis Shammai is of the opinion you have to check two shurois on the entire face of the martef. Ubeis Hillel omrim shtei shurois hachitzonos shehein elyonos. Whereas Beis Hillel argues and says two rows that are going to be on the outside, the uppermost rows. The Gemara will explain what these two opinions really mean to say. Before we begin the Gemara, all of the Rishonim, including Tosfos, asks, why do we need to make a bedikas chametz? Harei midi araisa, it's sufficient to mevatel one's chametz. When a person makes a declaration and he says that this chametz that I have is bottled, it's nullified, it's ownerless, it's like the ofar, that's sufficient to then rid himself of his possession of the chametz. So why does he have to make a bedikas chametz, which begins with the bedika and then concludes itself with a biur chametz, with the destroying of the chametz? The Rishonim explain the Chacham required both and cannot rely on one or the other alone. Why? Because if we merely had a bittul of the chametz, first of all, many may not even sincerely mevatel their chametz, in which case the bittul is not going to be effective. But even if a person is, yes, sincere in his being mevatel the chametz, perhaps during Pesach he will find chametz, and thereby, if he will leave that chametz in any time span whatsoever, without destroying it immediately, he'll be over the isurim of ba yimotze and ba yiroeh. Also, the Rishonim point out, even if he does come across this food, but perhaps he may, unknowns to him, he may forget himself because he's accustomed to eating such chametz during the rest of the year, and he may then take that chametz and eat it. And therefore, the Chacham said you're required also, in addition to the bittul, to make a bedika. Why not just make a bedika's chametz alone? Even that that would not suffice, because if you just made a bedika's chametz and checked for your chametz, then if you come across chametz that you might not have found in your possession, and then during Pesach you do find it, again, you might easily come to then eat that chametz. Or again, if you did not mevatel it, that will then also pose a problem of being over bal yirah ben yamatzeh if you leave it for a period of time. So therefore, the Chacham required both bedikas chametz as well as bitul chametz. Ask the Gemara right away, my or, what's meant when it states in the Mishnah in the beginning, or la'arba'asar boitkinas hachametz la'or haner? What does it mean, or la'arba'asar? Rav Huna Omar Nalgehei. Rav Huna says it means light, kipshutoi. Rabbi Yehuda Omar Leili, it means night. Says the Gemara, Kosalka daitoch, demand the Omar Noge mamish. Uman the Omar Leili mamish. It'll go up in your mind to think now that indeed the word or, according to the first opinion of Rav Huna, it means the daylight. That means that the bedika is done during the day. And of course, the other man, the Omar, which is Rav Yehuda, says that it means night, and therefore the bedika is done at night. Whereby or le'arbosar can be explained either during the day, the very beginning of the day is a requirement to be boikin hachametz, or it means or la'arbosar, that at night, the beginning of the night, one is boikin hachametz. Says the Gemara, asking the following questions on these opinions. Meisvei, haboiker or vahanoshim shulchu. The Gemara challenges with the following pasuk in regards to the Ache Yosef. Yosef sent his brothers back to their father Yaakov, and it says the boiker was or, and the men, the brothers of Yosef, were sent. Alma or yemamahu. Obviously, from here we see that or refers to the day, because it says ha-boiker is or, that the boiker is or. Answers the Gemara, miksiv ha-or boiker. Does it say the or is boiker, that it defines or, the noun of or being boker, being the morning? No, ha-boiker or kisiv. It says the boiker is or, and therefore it means to say the boiker has then produced or. There is light, there is a production of light. It became light. Kiman da'omer tzafar nar, like the one who says that in the morning became light. So too over here, or does not mean a noun, rather it's a verb. Ukid Rav Yehuda Marav, like Rav Yehuda said in Rav, da'omer Rav Yehuda Marav, lo'olam yikanes adam bekitov v'yetze bekitov. A person, when he is traveling, he should enter his city, his destination, bekitov, when it is toiv, when it is light. So too, when he leaves on his journey, he should wait till the beginning of light. And therefore, when the light is becoming light, the day becomes light. Why should he not leave on his journey when it's still dark? Because after all, there might be bandits, there might be wild animals, and mazikin, and therefore it's considered to be kitoiv, a reference to the light. That Baruch Hu said kitoiv the very first time on the light. Therefore, a person should only go on his journey and return from his journey while it's still light. Ask the Gemara further, Meisvei ukaor boiker yizrach shemesh, and like the or, the morning, the sun will shine. Alma or yemamahu. Here we have the order of the words is not boiker or, but or boiker. So we see that the or is defined as boiker. So that's going to be a kasha on Rav Yehuda, who says that it's Leili. Answers the Gemara, Miksiv or Boiker. Does it say the or is Boiker? No. Ka'or Boiker Ksiv. It says Ka'or Boiker. Not or, but Ki'or Boiker. Like or is Boiker. V'hochikam, this is what it is meant to say in the Pasuk. Uke'or Boiker, and when there is an emission of light in the morning, ba'olam hazeh, in this world, ke'ein zricha shemes latadikin la'olam habo, that will be like the shining of the sun for the tzaddikim of the next world. In other words, that the production of the light just after it is dark, that will also be like the sun shining for the tzaddikim in olam haba. Ask the Gemara further, Meisvei vayikra Elokim liyoim or. Here it states that HaKadosh Baruch Hu called it or yoim. So here we have l'char befeirush, like the Manda Omar Rav Huno that says or refers to nogeh. Alma or yemamahu. So we see that or is yemama. Says the Gemara, no, hochikama. This is what is meant by the pasuk when it says vayikra Elokim laor yoim. Meir uba karu yoim. To illuminate, meaning what? That when the beginning of the light illuminates, it shines, that's called yoim. Ask the Gemara if the beginning of the light is called yoim. That means the beginning of causing light, the emission of light is calling yoim. Elo then me'ata. Then you have to be consistent. And the beginning of night is called Laila. Ask the Gemara, that can't be. Until Tzeis HaKochavim is called night. Meaning before that it's Ben HaShmoshois. So that's not considered to be night. The beginning of the night is not considered to be night. Only Tzeis HaKochavim is night. So therefore that cannot be the interpretation over here that when it says Vayikra Elokim Liyoim La'or yoim, it means the beginning of the light is yoim. That can't be. Elohochik Omar. Karya Rachmana Linahara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was calling out, so to speak, to the Bria. Ufpakte amitzvase di yamama. And he called to the Bria that they should then produce light for the day. The Karya Rachmana Lachshucha. Upakte amitzvase di leilya. Similarly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu called to the Bria to produce night, to produce darkness, and he calls them to then work so that it should be during the day, during the night. Ask the Gemara further, Meisvei Hallelu Kol Kochvei, or it says in Tehillim, praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu all of the Kochvei or Alma or Ortahu. Here the Gemara asks the other way on the other Manda Omar. You see over here the fact that they're called Kochvei or, stars that are or, it means that those stars come out at night. Therefore, or means night. These are koichavim that are at night. Says the Gemara, there's no kasha hochika omar. Halu kol koichavim hami'irim, referring to those stars that are meir, that illuminate. Ask the Gemara, elameyato, koichavim hami'irim hu de boy shabuchi, she'ena ma'irim lo boy shabuchi. You're going to say that those koichavim that are illuminating, they should praise Hashem, but those koichavim, those stars that do not illuminate, they do not have to praise Hashem. Behold, it says in the pasuk afterwards that all of the hosts should praise Hashem, including all of the constellations, all of those stars, even though they are not illuminating. Answers the Gemara, Eloho kamash malan, the or, the koichavim nami orhu. It's coming to teach us that the or of the stars is also called or, it's called light. Lamai nafka mina, asked the Gemara, what is therefore the practical ramification for calling the fact that the stars have light, the light of the stars? Answers Gemara, L'noider mina or. Somebody who takes a neder, he cannot have hana from or, from light. This not, it states in the Mishnah. Or really, a brisa says in Chazal, Hanoider min ha'or, oser ba'oiran shel kachavim. One who takes a neder that you cannot have benefit from or, it includes the or of the kachavim. Meisvei asked the Gemara further, L'or yakum roitzeach yikatel ani ve'evyon. The or, the rotzeach will get up, and he will kill the poor and destitute. Ubelayla yigan keganov. And at night, he will be a ganav. So here we have the contrast. The Reisha says La'or Yakum Rotzeach, and the Sefer says Ubalayla Yikiganav. Says the Gemara on Daf Pei, on top of Beis, on Beis, Ha Midekomar Ubalayla Yikiganav. Alma or Yemamahu. The fact that the Reisha states that, the Sefer states that at night he will be a ganav, a robber. That means that the Reisha, when it says or, it refers to the day. So now we have Lachara Akash on the Manda Omar who says that or refers to Lelia. Says the Gemara, there's no kasha. Hasam hochikamar. There, in that pasuk, this is how you have to understand the pasuk. I pashita lacha milsa benuhura. The anafasha is kaasi. If it's pashit to you, just like the clearing of the day, just as the day is clear, it's going to be pashit clear to you that the person who's coming to then rob from you is a person who's tunneling into your home and he's going to then kill you. Then then he's a murderer, and therefore habala hargcha hargoi. Somebody comes to kill you. Get up earlier, hashkem baboike v'hargoi, and kill him. But if you're not sure, just like the night is unclear, then it should be in your eyes like a thief, like a robber. And you cannot kill him as somebody who is a rosech, he's just a ganav. In other words, in the middle of the night, when a person breaks in, the assumption is that he knows that you're going to then defend your property, whereby he's prepared to then kill you. If it's clear as day that a person who breaks into your home in the middle of the night, that he's a murderer, therefore you can go ahead and kill him. However, there's an exception to this. If it's something that's not so clear, because it's like night, it's not so clear, you have a suffix, because maybe it's somebody like Khalil, a person's father, who's breaking into your home, maybe therefore he'll have Rahmanis, likely he'll have Rahmanis, and he will not kill his son who defends his property. Then there's no permission to kill the Ganav, the father, because he's not going to be a Rotzeach. And that's what the pasuk is coming to say over here, but not to then imply that or means day, or does not necessarily be called day, or it means over here that just like it'll be clear, like the light of the day, then he's a rotzeach. You can go ahead and get up and kill him. But if it's going to be unclear, like the Laila, then you have to then only defend yourself, but you have no rights to kill him.